You've logged on to attheraces.com and this is the Cheltenham Festival preview. We're looking now at Wednesday afternoon's RSA Novices Chase. Over 3 miles, some great horses have won this. You really need to stay well. Which of these do you like best?
Off the bend, Don Cossack joins Ballycasey. Carlingford Lock being ridden in behind them. Now the three runners come down to the final fence, and any of the three, Ballycasey coming back on the near side of Don Cossack. Carlingford Lock the inside over the final fence. Ballycasey and Carlingford Lock has lost Tony McCoy. Ballycasey now the leader from Don Cossack as they race up towards the finish. It's Ballycasey who's staying on the stronger, and up towards the finish Ballycasey will beat Don Cossack by 3 to 4 lengths. Tony McCoy's on his feet and Ballycasey wins the Dr. Paddy Moriarty Chase, beating Don Cossack. One left to jump in the Topaz Novice, and Bright New Dawn headed by My Murphy and Morning Assembly, and Carlingford Lock coming there on the near side. The final fence now, Morning Assembly and Carlingford Lock. They're over a couple of lengths in front. Fox Rock is staying on just behind them. Now it's Walsh and McCoy at it again. Head to head inside the last 150, and Carlingford Lock on the near side is just gaining the upper hand as they run up towards the finish. The Galway Plate winner, Carlingford Lock and Tony McCoy, beat Morning Assembly with Fox Rock third.
As they head towards 2 from the finish, Lebec, Noel Feely with the advantage. Bears Affair in second place for Tony McCoy, joined by Tony Starr and Richard Johnson over the second last, but Lebec took it safely with the lead. Bears Affair trying to fight back towards the right, then just in behind them Tony Starr, but Lebec has the advantage. They head towards the final fence. Lebec at the last, he's over it safely, 4 lengths clear from Bears Affair in second, Tony Starr in third, but it's Lebec who's sent clear for a winning chasing debut, and a quick fire double on the card for Emma Lavelle and Tim Sider, and Lebec scores in good style, beats Bears Affair into second place.
They face up towards the second last. It will just be Many Clouds who took off in front to O'Foylan's Boy, who's laying down a big challenge and now comes through to take the lead. O'Foylan's Boy and Barry Garrity surge to a lead of 2 lengths over Many Clouds in second. Staying on third, Intention is in third. Gevry Chambertin has stopped very quickly up the hill. They're over the final fence, and it is O'Foylan's Boy who is out in front. O'Foylan's Boy is clear now by 4 lengths. Many Clouds is trying to reel him in, but racing up towards the line, it is O'Foylan's Boy who takes the RSA trial. O'Foylan's Boy wins by about 2.5 lengths over Many Clouds in second.
So, some of the key contenders for the RSA Chase. Dan Barber from Timeform here to assess the merits of the form. Ballycasey, an obvious starting point with his last time out win. It's propelled him straight to the top of the market, Dan.
And the top of the Timeform ratings as well. He retains a P. We think there could potentially be more to come from this horse. And yeah, in terms of the bare form and the way we rate races, we think he has achieved most at this stage. But as with a fair few of these novice races, it's not just about what they've achieved already, it's what they may go on to achieve. A lot of horses just haven't had the chance to run to big figures yet, and it's possibly not so clear-cut as the ratings suggest at this point, because there are a whole host of horses in this, as you might anticipate, who have potential still to show better form.
Ballycasey missed the festival, didn't he, on the morning of the race last year, so his supporters will be hoping for better luck here. But just try and help us out with the merit of this victory in the PJ Moriarty, beating Don Cossack 4 lengths. Is it good enough?
It possibly is approaching good enough, but I think he'll have to do slightly better, and bear in mind he had the run of this race and made a couple of mistakes. He's well on top at the finish, sufficiently so to make me think he would have won however the race would have panned out. But yeah, he's still an inexperienced horse to be going into a race like this that we know can be a grueler. All this form tends to tie in. Don Cossack's one of the marker horses in Irish novices. We know that Carlingford Lock is. He then ties in with the likes of Morning Assembly. And yeah, he's clearly a horse with a massive reputation. But as you pointed out, he missed the festival last season. I think this is the ongoing concern with him. His soundness, will they be able to get him there in one piece? And he's had plenty of long absences in his brief career so far. There was always the feeling that we may never see the best of him, but he's been asked a question now. He's going to have to turn out more quickly than previously and try and show it on a bigger stage, and it's something that does put me off. I think he has the potential, in fact, much though he has the potential to spread eagle the field if he comes up to scratch, I think he has the potential to blow out completely.
Very interesting runner, isn't he? One way or another is Ballycasey. We just saw Carlingford Lock bail out there when held in the Moriarty, but usually he's a very consistent, reliable sort of horse, and he beat Morning Assembly earlier in the season as well at Leopardstown. This was at their big Christmas meeting. What do you make of these two?
I think they're extremely solid conveyances, and there's one in the British ranks who reminds me of them in a sense that he's a very likeable type, sound jumper, stays the trip extremely well, who is bound to give a good account. But I just wonder if these two lack a bit of star quality to suggest that they are potential RSA winners. I think they're bound to be on the premises, and I think the unseat that we saw in the Dr. PJ Moriarty wasn't even Carlingford Lock's fault. He was canned into by Brian Cooper on Don Cossack. McCoy was left with little chance of staying aboard, and that's very much a rare blemish on an otherwise extremely solid record. These are two horses, John, that are bound to be bang there entering the straight, and if something outstays them, then all the best of luck to them.
And sometimes it's just a real scrap, isn't it? A punch-up, as Matt Chapman might say. And I think Morning Assembly, given those conditions, is a horse you want on your side.
Yeah, he's well equipped to cope with something like that, and his jumping is a real asset. We have seen, I think it might be overplayed slightly, that this is a finisher of horses, this race, because wins for the likes of Bobsworth suggest otherwise, but there is definitely a case to suggest that it's a hard race, and they tend to press on from some way out, and Morning Assembly is one of those, as is Carlingford Lock, who will be well equipped to cope with a real stamina test.
Emma Lavelle, no stranger to Cheltenham Festival success. Her likely runner here is Lebec, and on At the Races we saw him make a winning start over fences at Uttoxeter way back in October. I just make that way back point because we've not seen him since well before Christmas, Dan.
That's true. Much like the shorter division in terms of the novices, and probably by dint of the fact there are more graded races for them to run in, I do think the Irish novice chasers hold a form edge as it stands, but that's not to say a horse like Lebec can't make the next step, and I do really like this horse. He's a flashy looker, but it's not just his appearance that's eye-catching. He's done plenty on the track. He was really good this day. He jumped better than pretty much any novice you'll see for a chasing debutant, and he impressed in that department again when he followed up at Cheltenham. Beat Shut the Front Door that day, a horse who we've rated higher since, a horse who I suspect will go well for whatever race he goes for at the Cheltenham Festival, beat the 4-miler, beat one of the handicaps, and I just get the sense that when he was behind Sam Winner, Lebec last time, conceding weight to that horse, that he just wasn't 100%. His jumping wasn't the same as it had been previously, and as you say, he's missed time since, as if perhaps there was something that wasn't quite right with him. So I think he can put the record straight. I think we'll see a better display from him at Cheltenham, and that Sam Winner form ties in on a line through that horse with Smad Place, who's a shorter price at the moment than Lebec in the market, and I think people are forgetting about him on the grounds that he's just been beaten once, whereas I think it's unwise, and I think we should focus on the good work he'd done prior to that.
Okay. Another key race we must have a look at with Dan is the Reynoldsstown Novices Chase at Ascot. A very recent piece of form, and a return to form here for O'Phalin's Boy, beating the tenacious Many Clouds, who stuck to the task really well, unlike Gevry Chambertin, who stopped as if shot.
Yeah, he did. I think there was a case to say that the Many Clouds and Gevry Chambertin pressed on a fair way out. Bear in mind that he'd already been softened up, Gevry Chambertin, by the early attentions of Eli Brown, but it still reflects plenty of credit on the runner-up here in particular. I think that Many Clouds is still coming back at the finish. What a tenacious soul he is, and he too, he's the one I'm thinking of, who's the equivalent of Carlingford Lock. He's the British Morning Assembly, you might say, because he is a stayer. He absolutely is a sound jumper. I don't have any worries on that score whatsoever, and you know that he'll be plugging away, but again, does he just lack a bit of star quality, and that's my slight negative with him.
The RSA looks wide open. Dan, where's your fiver heading?
I'm going to go with Lebec. I think it's a small stakes race. I think Ballycasey makes it difficult because we've spoken. He could be a yo-yo, he could be up or down, but I do think that Lebec's sound jumping and the earlier work he did at Uttoxeter and then winning at Cheltenham marked him down as a likely type for this, and I think the markets have overreacted to the fact he was turned over next time.
That's our preview then of the RSA Novices Chase at the Cheltenham Festival. Do keep it right here on attheraces.com.